Hi guys and girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. Thanks for tuning back in, thanks for coming back to see me. I'm really pleased you've done so, and I'm exceptionally pleased about to bring you another Addiesdive. I have featured quite a few Addiesdives, but not for a little while. I felt like for a little time, it just seemed a lot of the case, same bracelet, same clasp, just a different dial. But then this rocked up, and I just really like it. They made a dial version of this with the VH31, nicely proportioned. This one's got the automatic movement inside, and it just spoke to me, to be honest. I saw it, looks really, really nice. I like the hands and indices, I like the colour. Much better. All I would say to Addiesdive is that, listen, you do some exceptional pieces. Some of your watches are some of the best value watches out there. But let's get a bit more going in terms of not using the same case, same bracelet, same everything all the time. Because people, it gets a bit boring, if I'm honest. And like I said, I'm a bit of an Addiesdive fanboy, but let's not make it too stale, because that's why I've not featured so much recently. But this one, definitely better. I'm not saying it's not stuff they've not used before. It just looks it looks quite cool. Like I said, I showed it to my wife. She thinks it's a little stunner, and I'd be inclined to agree with her. Lots to like for a very modest price. The model number for this is the AD2077. A few different colours to choose from. I've got like the baby blue dial. By the time we get to the end of the video, you know if it's for you. I'll leave a link in the description. It's an affiliate link. Please feel free to use it. But without further ado, sit back, relax, get yourself a nice beverage, a nice brew, because it's about that time to get the camera turned around and get on with it. Alright guys, so this is the watch. This is the usual packaging you've probably become accustomed to seeing with Addiesdive. Maybe something to upgrade moving forward, but yeah, briefcase style, 4 clips keeping it closed. There's the watch. Okay, I've got 2 links off for it to fit my wrist, warranty card, instruction manual, tool to help size it, which I didn't use. There's one of the pins as well. But let me just put this to the side. You don't want to concentrate on that too much. What you do want to see is the watch. Let me just put the crown back in. I took it out in preparation for the review, but I think that is a beautiful looking dial. Really nice. I do believe they had the same dial on a sort of VH1 variant a while ago, but good to see they've gone for an automatic watch with the same dial. But this is the AD2077. A couple of other dials to choose from, so maybe there'll be something in keeping with your taste, but the baby blue one was speaking to me. I think it looks stunning. So yeah, the AD2077. Inside this watch, it's running a Seiko NH35 movement. I'll bring the information up about that movement now. Guys, I'm sure you've seen this movement. I'm not going to teach anyone to suck eggs. There's a good reason this movement gets used. Reliable, inexpensive. Like I say, it does the job. Runs really well. This is running about 8 seconds faster day. So not as good as some that I've had in, but definitely well within parameters. 24 joules, 21,600 beats per hour, 42 hour power reserve. And like I said, for an inexpensive watch, and I've been the price up in front of me, I think you'll take that all day really in terms of how it's running. The construction of the watch, aside from the crystal, is all 316L stainless steel. So you got a high polished bezel, you got a case as a mixture of brushing and polish, as is the bracelet, as is the clasp, the case back, stainless steel, as is a solid end link. So yeah, like I said, everything you can see aside from the crystal is all 316L stainless steel. So like I said, bezel, crown, case, solid end links, bracelet, clasp, and like I said, a bit of a mixture of brushing and polishing throughout the watch, and done to a good standard. The case thickness of this watch is 12.9 millimeters. The case diameter, I normally measure from the 8 to the 2, omitting the crown, obviously, it was 38.8 millimeters. And when you include the crown, go from 9 to the 3, it was kind of 41.2 millimeters. The lug width on this is 20. That does taper down to 16 and back up to 18 millimeters at that fully milled clasp. And the lug to lug, tip to tip of the watch is a true lug to lug, which is good to see. And it was coming in at bang on 48 millimeters. So I think the proportions of this watch are really good. Probably a bit thicker than some would like, but when it's got such a pronounced crystal, it's going to be hard to come in much thinner probably. That's the proportions going on there, guys. Like I said before, you got the high polished bezel, nice and thin. You got the crown situated at the 3 o'clock screw down crown. You got a screw down case back, which is nice. In terms of the fact that nowadays you get a lot of case backs that haven't got the nodules there to make it easier to unscrew. This has got it. I don't see why you would need to, but if you do, it's going to be nice and easy to access. So there we are. Like I said, it's got 4 mils of taper on the bracelet, going from 20 to 16. Push pins just to make it nice and easy to size, as and when you obviously come to size out for yourself. Fully milled clasp, and this one isn't sharp. I've had some Addiesdives watches in their clasp. You can almost use it to shave, but this one isn't like that. A lot more refined, no sharp edges, which I'm pleased to report. The only thing I would say, just as a caveat, I'd like to see them maybe not reusing all the same stuff all the time, or just changing dials. Maybe something to think about in terms of cases, bracelets, clasps, as time moves on. But yeah, there we are. The crystal covering the dial is a mineral crystal. And like I said about that protruding mineral crystal, that's going to add at least 1.5 mil, isn't it? That's a serious bit of domage on there. But good AR coating generally in terms of seeing it all. Like I said, I use 3 lights to record my videos, and actually it's not causing too much problems. So yeah, that's something good to report. The water resistance, you'll make out down at the 6 is 100 meters. So that'd give you 10 atmospheres of water resistance, and the weight will appear in the top right. So with those 2 links removed, it was coming in at 128.6 grams. With those 2 links back in the watch, yeah, it's probably going to come in at about 140. So yeah, reasonable amount of heft when you consider the size of the watch. But yeah, there we are. Let's have a look at the dial in a bit more detail. So this baby blue dial is stunning. I dare say the other ones will be nice, but this is the one I really wanted to have a look at. So you got, it's almost like a sector on the outer part, which is the minute track. As part of the minute track, and then inside the dial, you got applied battens everywhere, except for the 3 o'clock position where you got a nice date window around that date. Like I said, the battens are nice, slightly larger at the 6, 9, and 12. I think they look really, really cool. Nice size battens. You got the hands, which I think go pretty well actually with the indices. Good proportions on the hands once again. The hour is a bit longer than normal in terms of where it touches the indices, but that's no bad thing. I think people would rather longer hands and short hands from gauging responses and gauging comments and stuff. But like I said, that baby blue dial is stunning. Bit of sunburst going on there. So nothing else apart from the indices have been applied. You got Addiesdive printed on, really nice sort of italic style writing just below the batten at the 12. I think that's the style of writing most people like to see, especially on type of watches that are not divers. They don't want to see that sort of nautical sort of logo. Automatic 100M, 330 feet, printed on just above the batten at the 6. And like I said, it looks very, very clean. I like the sort of different sector for the minute track. Inside that, you got the sunburst, and then like I said, the hands and indices. Well, nicely high polished, good proportions, well sized, as I say, and looking really, really nice, in my opinion. And on top of that, now you're wondering, so what's the loom saying? So I'll bring the loom up now. The loom on this surprised me. So I'm not saying it was the best, I'm not saying it was the worst, but when you get a watch that's sort of having all of the materials you're using for not very much price, you're expecting, or I am, because I've seen it so often now, that the loom is normally where you suffer, but not on this. The loom goes pretty well, especially for a dressy style watch. I think it looks really, really nice. Like I said, the loom, and this was without it being charged. If you're going to be out on a nice summer's day, I'm sure the loom will last and last upon this. So yeah, nice surprise in terms of the loom and just the longevity you get from it, considering it's a dressy sort of piece. So that's good to see. Like I said, NH35 inside. So if I pull the crown out, it will hack. If I scroll away, let's see when the date changes over. Basically bang on. So yeah, well done Addiesdive for making sure that's the case. So I'll put it back to the 10 past 8 position, roughly, and then to put it back in, it will start back up again. You take it out to the first position. If you scroll towards you, you'll see the date changing over. Put it back in, and then we'll screw it back up. So turn it towards you so you don't cross-thread it, and then screw it up. And that is everything going on there. So that's the hands indices, dial, movement, loom. Yeah, what do you all make of it? Let me just pop it on the wrist quickly, give you an idea what it's on my wrist. 1 second, guys. Okay, so guys and girls, this is what it looks like on my wrist. I think this watch is stunning. I really do. That dial with the hands and indices is exceptional. I really do like it. If you haven't seen it, I'm glad I could bring it to your attention. Like I said, my wrist is a 7 1/4. Like I said, fits on my wrist nicely. Few levels of micro adjustment, few links you can take out. I'm sure it's going to fit you lovely as well. And like I said, really stunning. Okay, so guys and girls, that'll now take me swiftly on to what I think is pants and pucker about the watch. If you've ever watched before, you know I always start with pants. I like to go on a high or pucker. So what I think is pants about the watch is there's not much, guys. I think this is really, really nice. First thing I'm going to say, I'm going to go mineral crystal. Although it's nice and stuff, I think sapphire would have been banging on this watch. Would have just sort of elevated it to another level. And I'm sure people would probably pay a little bit more for it. Personally, I would. So I'm sure others would as well. And just the reused parts, as I sort of touched upon before, in terms of the case shape, bracelet, clasp, case backs, I'd like them to not be keep reusing everything. Like I said, I think that's why I've not been in a rush to feature too many Addiesdives of late, just because it all feels a bit vanilla in terms of having the same stuff all the time. So yeah, the reused parts, I'd like to see maybe that stop it so much as they have been doing. So that's all I'm going to say is the mineral crystal and the reused parts. What I think is pucker, it's quite a bit more still, because this is a cracking watch, and it's no small part down to the dial really. So the first one I'm going to say is the crystal clarity. Like I said, with all the lights I use, I'll take that in terms of how it looks, especially with such domage. Not too bad. The dial, yeah, for me the dial on this is stunning. I think it's really, really beautiful. The hands and indices, yeah, it just works for me. I think the proportions, the way they're done, the high polished, yeah, everything about them I really like. The loom, like I said, the loom on this for a dressy piece, I think is really, really good. Yeah, you'll take that on any dress watch you've got, let alone one that's so inexpensive. The general look of the watch, I think it's one that stands out. It's one you're going to get compliments on. Really, really nice. The size, like I said, the size generally, proportions, maybe a bit thicker than it needs to be. But like I said, look at the size of that crystal. It's gonna, if they made it a flat crystal, it'll probably take $1.5 million off at least. So yeah, but it is what it is. And the price, so I'll bring the price up again in front of me. I think this is a lot of watch for the price. Like I said, they probably could have charged a few quid more, but sapphire crystal, but generally the price is good. So they're the things I'm going to say is the crystal clarity, dial, hands and indices, loom, general look, size, and the price of the watch. And that'll take me on to, would I recommend this watch? And like I say, guys, I do like Addiesdive. I've got a lot of time for them. I've seen a lot of evolution and stuff they're doing. The logos now, they're starting to sort of move away from having the generic logo on every watch they do, depending on the watch it is, which is good. But yeah, let's stop reusing the parts. But otherwise, cracking watch. I'd have to wholeheartedly say, yeah, pick one up, guys. Really, really nice. But guys and girls, please let me know what you think about this watch, more importantly. And maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And always watch the time. Take care, guys. All the very best.